Hot flashes, whatever you call them, they can be anything from a mild irritating symptom to something that's completely debilitating. So in this video, we're going to look at what causes them, how to prevent them, and make sure to stick around to the very end because I'll give you some tools to use in the moment when a hot flash strikes. Hi, I'm Chelsea Green, holistic hormone specialist, and I help women transition from peri to postmenopause naturally using homeopathy, herbs, nutrition, and lifestyle medicine. If that sounds like the type of thing that you're interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. So today we're talking about hot flushes, which the research suggests at least 75% of women will experience at some point in their menopause transition. They can happen at any time in the peri to postmenopause years, and they can take many different forms. So flushes can be felt all over the body or just on singular parts like the torso, the neck, or the head. They can feel like they're coming from the internal to the external, or moving from an upwards to downwards position, or from a downwards to upwards position. They could have internal heat with external chills. You could have sweating, or you could have heat all over with no sweating. You could be hot, then chilly, hot with redness and sweat. They could start with a preceding symptom like palpitations or prickly skin, or they can come on completely out of the blue. They can last for a few seconds or for as long as 30 minutes. And they can occur just during the day, just at night, or both day and night. In fact, let me know in the comments below what hot flushes look like for you. Because the truth of the matter is there's no right or wrong way to do a hot flash. It really depends on the individual. So what causes hot flashes? The science says we don't know, but it's probably down to fluctuating hormones. But what we do know is two things underpin most of your menopause symptoms. That is the state of your metabolic health, i.e. blood sugar balance, and stress levels. Estrogen is involved in over 400 different functions in the body, and two of those very important functions are keeping your insulin levels and cortisol levels in check. So insulin is all about your blood sugar balance, and cortisol is all about your stress levels. So as we lose estrogen, we become much more sensitive to these two hormones. The result of that sensitivity leads to menopause symptoms such as anxiety, weight gain, depression, fatigue, insomnia, and of course, hot flushes. There are some known triggers for hot flushes. They include alcohol, spicy foods, hot drinks, caffeine, and smoking. So a good thing to do is to keep a journal of when you get hot flushes and see if you can identify any triggers. If we can identify our triggers, then we can choose to avoid those triggers and minimize hot flushes. For me, luckily, I only get hot flushes when I drink alcohol. So I only choose to drink alcohol on special occasions, and I am resigned to the fact that on that night I know I'll have a bad night's sleep because I will be struggling with a few hot flushes. But I would also add to that list of triggers strong emotions. So what a lot of ladies in clinic tell me is that they get hot flushes when they feel themselves getting flustered. So maybe they're trying to get out the door, they're running late, they've got 3 people trying to talk to them all at once. They can't find the word that they're searching for to answer one of those people. They can feel the stress levels rising, and then wham, along comes a hot flush just to top it all off. Hit the like button if you can relate to that scenario. So let's talk about prevention. So I said earlier, the two things that underpin all menopause symptoms are blood sugar balance and our stress levels. So by addressing these two things, we can help to prevent menopause symptoms. Both of these two things form the foundation of my signature framework in my one-to-one program. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to do. You can find the link in the notes, or alternatively, grab my free download because that will really get you started. So eating to balance your blood sugar levels is all about our metabolic health. This needs to be our focus both for a better menopause experience and also for our long-term health. Eating to balance your blood sugar levels involves reducing our exposure to sugar and to refined carbohydrates. When we eat those foods, we end up on a blood sugar roller coaster, and in each high in that roller coaster, the pancreas releases insulin. However, due to our lower levels of estrogen, we become less sensitive to the message of insulin. As a result, we have too much insulin in the system. In the roller coaster lows, we have a stress response. We release cortisol to deal with the stress. With this roller coaster effect, we end up feeling tired, fatigued, unmotivated, anxious, and gaining weight. All of which sound like menopause symptoms, right? So instead, what we want to be doing is removing those foods, the highly sugared foods and the refined carbohydrates from our diet. We want to be eating 3 proper meals a day that's protein rich, fiber rich, and full of vegetables. The beauty of eating like this is that we don't have cravings because we naturally feel satisfied. The protein and the fiber keeps us feeling full. It sends messages to our hunger hormones, and so we have less cravings. And when we eat to balance our blood sugar levels, we also have less stress and less inflammation in the body. And when we have less stress and less inflammation, then we have less hot flushes. So we can reduce stress by eating to balance our blood sugar levels, but we should also be looking to do daily self-care. We naturally have higher stress levels in menopause, so we can reduce those stress levels through food or through daily self-care practices that help to quieten down the nervous system. So we could do meditation, we could do yoga, particularly yoga nidra. We could do walking in nature. We could be reading our favorite book, having a little afternoon nap. It doesn't really matter what we do. We just want to be doing it every single day. And even if you can only manage 5 or 10 minutes a day, that will have some benefit. In fact, if you're really busy, just doing some breath work would be of benefit. But the truth of the matter is, menopause is your time. You need to be your number one priority. You need to start setting better boundaries and saying no to people and no to the things that do not light you up and no to the things that do not serve you. In addition to balancing our blood sugar levels and reducing stress levels, we can use herbs. Black cohosh is fantastic for reducing hot flushes, and ashwagandha is also a great herb because it helps to reduce stress levels. I cover both of these herbs in a lot more detail in 5 herbs for menopause relief, so do check out that video if you've not seen it already. And of course, think about what you're wearing. We want to be wearing natural fibers. Natural fibers work with the body's natural temperature, so when we're hot, the fibers open up to let more air in, and when we're cold, the fibers close together to keep us warm. So wearing things like natural cottons and linens. And one of my lovely clients told me that she got through her hot flushes by sleeping with wool blankets. Wool, of course, is a natural fiber, so again, it works on that same principle. With these preventative measures, we do have to make this our focus. So we really want to be trying to eat to balance our blood sugar levels and working on reducing stress every single day. So it's not a case of I tried it for 2 weeks and it didn't work for me. We do have to be committed to these lifestyle changes for the long term. But if you make these changes, it will go a long way to helping you manage not just hot flushes, but all of your menopause symptoms. It might relieve your symptoms altogether, or it might bring them to a level where they're completely manageable, as opposed to debilitating. So if we follow these preventative measures and we get our hot flushes to the point where they are manageable, what can we do in the moment? So I have 2 things for you. The first is breath work. Breath work is shown to reduce the frequency and intensity of hot flushes. Personally, I like the 4-4 breath. We breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, and you repeat that 4 times. Or there is a yogic breath called Satali breath. It involves rolling your tongue and breathing cool air through your tongue as if it were a straw. I'm not going to attempt to demonstrate it. I'll let you Google that one. The second thing is homeopathic remedies. There's tons of homeopathic remedies to cover hot flushes, but these are my 3 favorite and most used remedies. As always, homeopathic remedies have to be matched to your state. If they don't match your symptoms, then they won't work. My first remedy is sepia, and you can order all of these remedies from a homeopathic pharmacy, and I'd recommend a 30C potency. Sepia is a fantastic hormone remedy. In its healthy state, sepia has lots of energy, they're very caring, they do everything for everyone else, but it's this that wears them out. So when we see the need for sepia, the woman is usually very worn out, dragged down, and you see that dragging maybe in the period pains. They might be described as dragging, their energy is quite dragging. They want to be left alone, or they may want to escape their family, and they always feel better for vigorous exercise. They're generally a very chilly person, and when a hot flush strikes, they might describe it as very hot, as if water being poured all over them. They may get anxiety with their hot flushes, and they may get sweat with their hot flushes, usually on the chest, and they may feel weak and exhausted after a hot flush. Generally, they're worse before their periods. Next up, we have lachesis. Lachesis is a fantastic menopause remedy and covers never been well since menopause. Their menopausal state might include jealousy, suspicion, even paranoia, and emotional outbursts. They're can be quite spiteful. They have incredible flushes of heat with lots of congestion, and they might have cold feet with it. It tends to be an ascending heat. With their menopausal state, they might also get palpitations or bursting headaches or even high blood pressure. A keynote of lachesis is they don't like tight clothing, particularly around the neck. They don't like that feeling of constriction. And my third most used remedy is sulfuric acid. It covers general aggravations at menopause. They tend to be angry and irritable and very, very busy, and therefore very, very impatient. They get severe hot flushes with sweating and perspiration. The perspiration might have a sour odor to it, and it tends to be the upper parts that are affected the most. They can get flushes on eating hot food, and it can be worse overnight. So with each of these remedies, you could take them when a hot flush strikes. The idea in homeopathy is we only take a remedy when the symptoms are there. So if you're having a cluster of hot flushes, you could take the remedy every 15 to 30 minutes, up to 3 or 4 doses, and that should resolve the issue. If you've selected the wrong remedy, don't worry, you can't do any harm, it simply won't work. At that point, you would stop, review the symptoms, and look for a better matched remedy. So the best way to deal with hot flushes is to start with the preventative measures that I mentioned. So getting your blood sugar balance sorted, reducing your exposure to sugar and refined carbohydrates, and increasing protein and fiber, and doing the daily stress management. There is no getting away from this. These 2 tools will get your hot flushes to a point where they're few and far between and much more manageable. And then from there, you can prescribe the homeopathic remedies and use the breathing techniques that I mentioned. And if you haven't done so, make sure to check out the video I mentioned on the 5 herbs to help manage your menopause symptoms.